They laughed quietly when she stepped onto the mat. Not cruel laughter, worse than that. The kind that comes from certainty. Certainty that she didn't belong there. Certainty that this class would be another reminder of who was strong and who was not. The instructor glanced at her file, paused for half a second, and nodded as if the outcome was already written. No one in that room knew that within minutes, everything they believed about strength, discipline, and silence was about to be rewritten. Without a single shouted word, she had learned early that silence could be heavy. Not empty, heavy. It pressed against her chest every time someone looked past her, every time instructions were explained twice for others but never repeated for her. In training, silence followed her like a shadow. She didn't complain. She didn't explain. She listened, watched, and absorbed everything. While others measured progress in praise and ranks, she measured it in control. Control of breath, control of fear, control of the small tremor that appeared when doubt tried to speak louder than discipline. The SEAL training environment was unforgiving by design. It wasn't meant to be fair, it was meant to be revealing. Every drill stripped something away: ego, impatience, shortcuts. And yet, despite the equal standards, assumptions still found their way in. Some believed strength was loud. Some believed confidence had to announce itself. And some believed that if you didn't look like a fighter, you probably weren't one. She heard the whispers, though no one ever spoke directly to her. She won't last. This isn't for her. Just wait until close combat week. Each word stacked itself quietly in her mind. Not as fuel for anger, but as reminders. Reminders of why she trained alone after lights out. Why she practiced movements slowly, perfectly, again and again, long after muscles burned. Why she studied not just techniques, but timing, balance, and intention. The instructor that day was respected, experienced, known for ending illusions quickly. He believed in realism, in pressure, in pushing students past comfort. When he called for a demonstration, the class straightened. This was where mistakes were exposed. When his eyes landed on her, a few heads turned. Surprise, curiosity, a flicker of doubt. "Step forward," he said, voice calm, professional. She did. The mat felt colder than usual. The room quieter. This wasn't a challenge. It was a lesson. Also, everyone thought. The instructor explained the scenario, confident and controlled. He expected resistance. He expected struggle. What he didn't expect was stillness. She stood relaxed, not careless, not tense, present. The demonstration began. Movements were fast but clean. Nothing dramatic, no unnecessary force. In a matter of seconds, positions shifted. Balance changed. The room leaned forward without realizing it. Then it happened, smooth, precise, undeniable. The instructor found himself paused, controlled, his advantage neutralized, his position reversed. No one spoke. It wasn't humiliation. It wasn't dominance. It was clarity. A reminder delivered without noise. She released him immediately, stepping back, eyes down, breathing steady. The silence that followed was no longer heavy. It was respectful. The instructor didn't raise his voice. He didn't laugh it off. He stood still for a moment longer than necessary, then nodded. In that nod was something rare, acknowledgement. Not of talent alone, but of discipline, of patience, of mastery built quietly, without needing permission or applause. He turned to the class and spoke about assumptions, about how combat wasn't about size or volume, but awareness and control. About how the most dangerous mistake was believing you already knew who could win. As he spoke, eyes shifted, not toward her body, but toward her composure. Toward the calm that hadn't broken even under pressure. For the first time, she felt seen without being examined. After that day, nothing about the training changed, and everything did. Standards remained brutal, expectations stayed high, but the air was different. Conversations softened, questions became genuine, and respect, once withheld, settled naturally where it belonged. She didn't become louder. She didn't change her posture. She continued exactly as before, training, learning, improving. What the class learned wasn't just a technique. It was a truth. That strength doesn't announce itself. That resilience often wears a quiet face. That underestimating someone doesn't weaken them. It reveals the limits of your own vision. Years later, many would remember that moment not as the day an instructor was disarmed, but as the day they understood what elite really meant. Not flash, not noise, but control earned through humility and relentless effort. And she carried on, as she always had. Not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove to herself that silence, when paired with discipline, can speak louder than anything else. True strength is not measured by how loudly it arrives, but by how calmly it remains. Never underestimate quiet dedication, because when the moment comes, it doesn't need permission to be powerful.